Anshwi Singhal by this side, and the topic I choose for my presentation is enhancing web server security using Dockers. So during this course, we learned about Dockers, and I feel like this is a very important technology because I use this for a lot of projects, especially projects where I require multiple endpoints or entry points to per se. So, for example, in scenarios where I need to use some kind of proxies, or sometimes some software needs to run on different platforms, like either it could be Ubuntu or maybe Windows based platforms or Linux or something like that. So, mainly the provisions for Docker is Ubuntu based and Linux, which are the most popular options. So Docker can be used in other methods. For example, when you want to increase security, this is pretty neat way of using Dockers. So let's start with the introduction. So the basic introduction of Docker is being having the ability to use containerization. So containerization is nothing but like making, I would say, like like a separate area of to work basically. So containerization is just creating containers which could be also be said to be like virtual machines, which is a little different but kind of the same concept. It's the isolation that they provide. So containers are another pseudo kind of platform or computer in your own computer where you can test around, mess with, and let other people access without affecting your own computer to in any way. So the security benefits and the hardening. So benefits isolation that I've already mentioned, like it is isolated from your own computer. So if, for example, you host a website and you put it on Docker, you can isolate your computer or your server, and people like hackers who want to like gain access to your website or to your server, like by sending admin calls or API calls to your servers so that they can take over your databases and all, they would be isolated in the Docker server, so they cannot really access your database at all. And it also helps freeing up our mind, like we have very less area of attack, because at the end of the day, Docker is just one container, and there could be various containers in the same organization. So at a time, only one container is affected, and we can easily remove that said container and move on with the other ones. And rapid updates, you can quickly give updates on Docker using something like Ansible, so that can be easily used and set up. And this is very beneficial when you're developing CI and CD pipelines because it's faster. And the base images is a very easy concept to learn in Docker because they are very light and they can be sent out very quickly. You can set up new containers in um, basically no time. So it's easier to scan them, and because there is a lot of things, like you can specifically set up your Docker in ways that you won't really be able to do with your computers, because computers have require more like admin accesses to do stuff. But as compared in Dockers, you can mess around and do a lot of stuff which is not really possible in some of the I would say OS like Mac or Windows, for example. Best practice and deployments. It's a bench. So yes, Docker has something called a bench, which is kind of a tool which you can use for security audits. It's not really, we didn't really cover something like this in our course, but Docker bench is more when you're in specifically using it for keeping a check of all the intruders and everything like that. So it's more a niche kind of thing that you might be able to use in future. But yeah, uh, it's very easy to set up CI and CD pipelines with Docker. So you can set up update pipelines and network pipelines for that cases, for example. What I mean here is basically you can set up anything with Docker. Like you can customize any kind of home networks, server networks, and anything like that. So basically, in conclusion, I feel like Docker is an amazing choice if you want to use something like uh, a proxy between you and the server or the client and anything like that. So it's kind of the first line of defense against any kind of attackers. So it's the best case use is when you're using it for security. Like personally, I feel like that, and especially when you need multiple types of devices from same endpoint, so that they can access other information across the internet. Uh, I have found a very interesting use of them through scraping, but I feel like personally, Docker is an amazing choice for security. Thank you.